Hi there, welcome back. It's Lucy from Mind Food. Wednesdays are about looking at the 5 steps to growing. So last week we were looking at planning and preparing, and that was all about looking at the resources that you already have and having a think about what you might be able to grow. And in well-being terms, it's very similar. So it was about taking stock of where you're at and settling on something that you might want to nurture. And this might be something like one of the 5 ways to well-being. So just a recap, they were taking notice, connecting, being active, keeping on learning, or giving. And so you might want to pick one of those to see if you can nurture. And this week it's about planting and sowing. So that's really all about getting started. And we just need to remember that it's all about starting really small and making things easy for yourself. And we're very much like seeds in that respect. And seeds are just these awesome tiny bundles of potential, and when you're sowing seeds, it's still all about making everything as easy as possible for them to do their thing. So in the first instance, seeds only need water and the correct temperature to germinate. And the temperature that they need to germinate depends largely on where the plants originated from. Mediterranean plants will tend to need a warmer temperature to get started. So you probably want to start those indoors, and we've done a lot of that already this year, sowing aubergines in January, but indoors. And tomatoes and peppers on the way. But today we're going to talk about seeds that are good to get started with now. So they don't really need it much more than water and warmth to get started. And nutrients and sunlight come a bit later. So seeds already have everything they need inside them to get started and to germinate and to reach the surface. And that offers a real clue as to how far to plant them into the soil, sow them into the soil. So if it's a tiny seed, then it probably only needs to go near the very surface because it hasn't got much to go on to get to the surface. If it's a medium-sized seed, so for example at the moment you might be sowing some beetroot or maybe some radishes, they're a bit bigger and they can go a few millimetres down. And then big seeds like beans, which are also a great thing to sow now, they can go in the full depth of their down to their own depth really. So for example a broad bean or a runner bean could probably go a couple of centimetres down into the earth, so that's a little bit further. So then about the soil itself, we said it's all about making things easy for the seeds to grow into. So that is going to be about, well, you can basically buy sowing compost mixes, but we like to make our own. And if I show you how we kind of get ours together, you'll see that it's really much more about the texture than anything else. So, and as with everything that we suggest, if you don't have all of the bits, just do the best you can, because actually nature has a fantastic way of kind of getting on with things in spite of us. So it's really just worth having a go with what you've got. So I don't want to be too prescriptive here. But the first thing that we need for our soil mix is a base. And we want something that's going to be weed-free, and we want something that's going to be disease-free. So it does have to be sterile. So we usually start ours off with some nice new topsoil. But that's quite fine and silty. So we need something that's going to open out the texture a bit. And the best thing for that is sharp sand. Now sharp sand's quite a good thing to get hold of anyway. You can get it from the builders, and that's rather good for keeping slugs and snails away because they just can't bear to cross it. So we'll come to slug and snail defences another time, I think. So sand will break up the texture, and it'll also help with drainage, meaning things that the young seed roots aren't going to get waterlogged. And then also in terms of like water distribution, we're going to add some organic matter. So this is a peat-free compost, but you could also use something like coir. So organic matter kind of hangs on to water, which means that it's an available resource for whenever the roots of your young seedlings need it. So that's really how it goes. And then we just mix them all together. So basically we use 2 parts topsoil, 1 part sand. Here we go, sharp sand. then 1 part peat-free compost or some sort of organic matter, like that, and then you just mix it all up. Simple as. So if you like making crumble, then this is definitely something that you want to have a little try at. So now we've got our soil mix, I'm going to show you how you can plant some seeds. Pretty straightforward actually. Today we're going to plant them up into, sow them into these loo roll tubes, which are great because as they're biodegradable, you can put them straight into the ground once they're ready to go outside. So I've got one here, which is actually some peas. Well, it's a pea plant, and you can see that the roots are growing straight through it, and it's ready to go outside. So this will be a purple mange too, so that'll be going outside imminently. So to make these tubes, it's a bit of a loo roll origami moment, and what you're going to do is you're going to make 6 even cuts, between 4 and 6, it doesn't really matter, 3, 4, oh, let's just do 5, and then you're going to, you see that, then we're going to fold each tab onto the next, a bit like when you're closing a cardboard box, so they're all overlapping, and when you've got them to all overlap, then you can squeeze them gently in on themselves and they make sort of like a shutter pattern. And at that stage you can fill up your tube. Forgot my gloves as usual. Then give it a tap. So you're just tapping out any air pockets really. And then today I think we're going to sow, what have we got here? Oh yes, a nice runner bean seed. Peas and beans are great things to start now. So as I said, the size of the seed dictates how deep it's going to go down. So this is going to go roughly to its own depth. So here we go, pop that in, press that right down. And I'm just going to pinch over the soil, and then that's ready to go in our pot here. Take this one out for planting out, and you can see we have a whole lot all ready to go in a couple of weeks time, I should think. So yeah, I'll get cracking with those. Jumpy little things. Tap, pop that in nice and deep. Now once these are all full, I'll just give them a jolly good drink. I'll keep an eye on them so that they don't dry out. There we go. That's hopefully the beginnings of the runner beans for the summer. July, August time I should think, by the time we've got these outside in a good amount of space. Right, so that's about it. Happy sowing and planting. Bye.